Hi, welcome to Erin's World Famous. I'm Erin, and on today's episode, we're going to be making a super easy and simple no-knead bread. Here's the list of ingredients you'll need to make today's recipe. 3 cups of bread flour, 1.5 cups of warm water, 2.5 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 1.25 teaspoons of active dry yeast. For the full recipe, please check out the description below. To start off your bread recipe, you're going to bloom your yeast. You're going to take 1.5 cups of water. Make sure it's heated up to about 110 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to add your 1 teaspoon of sugar and your 1.25 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Give it a little stir and let it sit for about 4 to 5 minutes until bloomed and foamy at the top. While your yeast is blooming in your warm water, you're going to add your 2.5 teaspoons of salt to your flour and mix thoroughly. Once your water, sugar, and yeast mixture has bloomed, you're going to pour it into your flour and salt mixture and then stir it around and mix with a wooden spoon until fully incorporated. You may want to switch to your hands after it gets more difficult to stir. I find that the easiest, and then that way it'll help collect all the flour off the bottom of the bowl. Once you get to where the flour is almost completely incorporated, you're going to take your hands, scoop as much as you can off of your spoon, and then just kind of pinch and roll with your hand. You're not necessarily kneading it, however, you do want all the flour that's on the bottom of the bowl to be squished up and soaked into your dough. Once you've fully incorporated your flour into your dough, leave it into a loose ball on the bottom of the bowl. It's going to be a very sticky dough, however, this is exactly what you want. With your dough completely combined, you're going to cover it with plastic wrap and stick it someplace warm for about 18 hours. You can do as low as 12 hours or as high as 24, but 18 will give you the best results. While you're resting your dough overnight, you're going to want to put it in a draft-free place, preferably slightly warm. I like to put mine in the oven, of course with it off, or the microwave, anywhere that'll just keep it from getting a breeze. After allowing your dough to proof for 18 hours, you're going to want to preheat your oven at 450 degrees with your Dutch oven or heavy bottom pot in it. Make sure to remove your proofing bread from the oven first. After 18 hours of proofing, this is what your dough should look like. It'll be very bubbly, very springy, very sticky, and wobbly, as you can see. With your countertop lightly dusted with flour, you're going to scrape your dough out of the bowl. I like to use a dough scraper. I find it easier, especially with such a sticky dough, such as this. Next, you're going to continue with your bowl scraper, or you could also use your hands by lightly just flipping over and tucking onto itself until you've reached a ball-like shape. Once you flip it over, you can kind of lightly dust it on top to remove any slightly sticky spots. You're just going to shape it into a round ball. Remove your preheated Dutch oven from your oven. Next, you're going to take your dough scraper and just lift the ball of dough from the bottom and drop it in your hot Dutch oven. Sprinkle a little extra flour on top. After placing your dough in your warm Dutch oven, place the lid on and put it back in the oven for 30 minutes. After baking for 30 minutes, you're going to pull it out of the oven and remove the lid. And then you're going to pop it back in the oven for another 15 minutes so it gets some more color on top. After allowing to bake for 15 minutes in the oven with the lid off, pull it out and check for doneness. I allowed mine to go for another 5 minutes just to get a little bit more brown and crispy on the edges. Allow your bread to cool in the Dutch oven for about 10 minutes before removing it. Once you've allowed your bread to cool, now it's time to cut. Just listen to that crunch. And then the inside is nice and fluffy. And here you have your super easy, no-knead Dutch oven bread. If you've enjoyed today's recipe, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment on what you may like to see me cook next. But now it's time to eat. We'll see you next time.